guys, welcome back to the F1 universe. So I'm your host, Athithi, and I have two of the best co-hosts, Midland and Bruce.
Thank you.
So welcome back, guys. We did not have Varush on the last episode, so welcome back.
Hello.
You ready as ever?
Yeah, it's been so long. So.
Nice to have you back, Varush.
On the last episode, we did talk about so many things. Talked about George Floyd and how it affected Hamilton and many other drivers. We talked about Rocket losing their sponsorship, so many things. And this week, we are talking about the beginning of F1. That's right, F1 is back, and we started in Austria qualifying because there was quite a lot of surprises that happened there. So we saw that Ferrari were quite slow. They were a second slower than last year when they were at this circuit, which is quite surprising.
Especially with a brand name Ferrari. I mean, when you say Ferrari, you think of pace. But considering that they were a second, they were a second, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's not what you would expect from a Ferrari. I mean, you had two great drivers. You have Vettel, Leclerc. Leclerc didn't really have a very successful qualification, along with Vettel, who came 11th. I was expecting more, so this season I predicted that Leclerc would either be challenging Bottas, Verstappen, and Hamilton for the championship. I mean, we saw he came second in today's race. But qualifying, they need to pick up their pace.
Okay. Midland, what's your thoughts on Ferrari being a bit slower than usual?
Yeah, it's not really that. I mean, they already looked slow in pre-season testing, didn't they? So it was kind of waiting to happen. And yeah, if you like, I think F1 showed the comparisons between last year and this year in terms of pace. I see like Ferrari have lost 0.9 seconds. Last year's, I think they were on pole last year. I forgot, but
Leclerc was pole last year.
Leclerc was on pole, right? And yeah, it's not just Ferrari as the works team; it's all Ferrari-powered engine cars. So Haas and Romeo as well. So clearly, there's something wrong with their motor, right? So it's not.
Yeah.
It's not just about the chassis. Something is not right with their PU. Probably like. Do you remember, like, there were allegations last year as to Ferrari getting an advantage?
And they're legal,
And this year they were forced to remove whatever that component was, and clearly that was a big. Because look at the difference. Every team has improved apart from Ferrari.
Those three and a little bit Red Bull, but Red Bull
time,
but, just a little bit.
A little bit, but clearly
Ferraris
there's very wrong with Ferrari.
Yes.
I don't know if it's a matter of whether they've lost performance or the other teams have gained performance.
Well, we have seen Williams, McLaren, they've all gained a lot, especially from last year.
Yeah.
Mercedes, a little bit, but we have seen that they've improved. So that's good to know.
Yeah.
We saw Tracing Point. They got into Q3, and Stroll and Perez did put up a good fight. I feel like if Bottas didn't come off the grass to make that yellow flag, we probably would have seen both of them in the top 6, maybe.
Okay.
But they were pretty on pace.
I think that one pace is very strong.
Especially since they do basically have a copy of the W10. They're going to put up a good fight this year, especially since we have a shortened calendar. You need to get going from race 1. Otherwise, by the end of the year, you're not going to have what you would have thought you would have had. Because we would have had 22 races this year. But instead, we've got 8 at the moment. Who knows how many more we're going to add. So, it's quite, doesn't know what's going to happen. But Norris qualifying 4th. So, that was good to see that McLaren have the power they need this year. I mean, Sainz is leaving, but I think he's discovered his mojo a little bit. He did say he'll be ready to go out racing straight away after 10 minutes. So we did see that he also did he qualify in the top 10? He did, didn't he?
I think he did.
Yes. And we did get a Mercedes 1-2. So woohoo! Until
It wasn't as simple as that. It wasn't as simple as it sounds.
And we did see pre-qualifying that Red Bull protested against the DAS system, which could, well, yeah. What's your opinions on DAS? Do you think Red Bull have something up their sleeve? What do you guys think's going on with DAS and how all the teams are reacting to it?
I think they've already built something. They must have, with their resources already.
Yeah.
As soon as he sees something innovative, he likes to take advantage of it and then make it even better.
Yeah.
I think they would have already had something in hand, but that confuses as to why they would then protest against Mercedes' system, because if they have their own, then they're just digging themselves as well in a hole. And I thought this was already clarified in the
Ferrari.
Well, in the preseason.
Yeah.
So why did it have to happen during a race weekend? it just didn't make any sense to me. And I just felt it was a bit tedious of them to, yeah. And I mean, it's not pointless because it was definitely every team has a right to question, but it wasn't the right timing. They've had all this time to question it. Why do it just before the weekend start? I guess it's all mind games, just to try and put Mercedes off.
Yeah. Boris, what do you think of DAS?
Honestly, I know nothing about that. Like,
okay. So my take on DAS is that, like Midland, I feel like Red Bull have created some sort of type of DAS, or maybe itself, but a better version. And maybe they're just trying to see if it's legal still, or if FA have changed their mind, so that next week, they may implement it into the car itself. And we saw that in the race itself, DAS did have a huge part to play in. So maybe they're just analysing and, like Millen said, get into Mercedes' heads. And they did protest against the yellow flag from Hamilton. And Hamilton did get a 5-second penalty, which was quite a 3-place grid penalty. Sorry.
Literally, started. I don't remember the last time and a penalty was imposed like half an hour before a race.
Yes.
Yeah,
that was very odd decision. Like, I thought it was just rubbish, like made up on Twitter or something. I didn't think it was true.
Yeah, I was watching as it happened, and I was on Instagram and I saw, penalty. But, I feel like the FIA were lazy, because if they gave it now, why couldn't they give it yesterday when qualifying was happening? So that was a bit...
I guess the confusion was that, like, Lewis was the first one who saw that incident happen right in front of him, right? And then Bottas was completely off the track. There was no way, like, he could come back and therefore be a danger to... So Lewis was safe to drive at full speed, and Lewis had full view. So in my argument, I think that Lewis, because of the context in which he can see everything in front of him and know that there's no threat or danger, it was okay for him to continue his lap, right? And at the end, he didn't take pole position anyway.
Yeah, so
I mean, maybe he may have got the fastest sector at that point, but I don't know. I guess anyone behind, like Ricciardo, for example, who would not you, I guess for him, like, if he didn't slow down, then
it would have been
different, because he doesn't have anything in front of him to make that decision. But for Hamilton, it just didn't make sense. But I guess on paper, you could say, like, yellow flags mean yellow flags, and therefore
you have to follow.
You have to follow that rule. But at the same time, there's a green flag waved by a marshal on the other side.
Yes.
So it wasn't really that straightforward to understand. But yeah, Red Bull definitely pushed their asses off to really make
And before the race started today, we saw a couple of drivers kneeling down during the Austrian national anthem. Some drivers did partake in the kneeling, some drivers did not. For example, Hamilton, Bottas, Gasly, Norris, they all kneeled down. But Leclerc, Verstappen, Sainz, they did not. They did put out something on Twitter saying
Leclerc,
how...
Sainz, Giovinazzi, Kimi, and Kvyat. Kvyat.
Yeah, I feel like Kimi was just pure lazy. He's 40. Give him a break.
I see a connection between all of them, but I'll get to that in a bit.
Okay, so I did see on Twitter that Leclerc and Verstappen put out I think it was the exact same comment, how they believe in that everyone should not be racist and that, but they did say that it wasn't their fault, and as to kneeling down would make it seem as it was their fault that this is happening in the world. So for that, they decided not to kneel down, and there was a lot of backlash for that. Everyone was like, well, you put on a black screen, why didn't you kneel down, show your support? But what do you guys think about it?
I think Formula One made a big impact on this because, you know, Hamilton being all black and everything. We saw the drivers kneeling, and it was like a very heartwarming, touching moment. So for the people that, you know, tweeted out comments about this Black Lives Matter thing, I understand why they didn't kneel down, of course. So yeah, I think it was a nice way for like respecting George Floyd.
Okay, Midland, what do you think?
No, look, like following what Leclerc said, he said, I believe what matters are facts and behaviors in our daily life, rather than formal gestures that can be seen as controversial in some countries. And that's why he said, will not take the knee, but it doesn't mean that I'm less committed than others in the fight for racism.
That's
right?
what Verstappen said.
That was Leclerc. And then Verstappen,
but I think Verstappen
said something a bit more crude, which I didn't like.
Yeah, I didn't really understand that.
I'm very committed to equality and the fight against racism.
Yes.
And he said, I believe he put somewhere that, you know, he was here to race. And from that, I just took the matter as, you know, you're here to race, but you don't give a shit about anything else. That's what I took it as. And I had a huge problem with both of these drivers because they were completely clueless to the whole point. Not once did they raise any awareness, and Leclerc has done nothing to raise awareness with his huge platform. Max, I don't know what his issue is.
I think Max is just there to race. Honestly, he doesn't give a damn. But
it's a bit more than that, you know, because he has a following, right? A very we've all seen the fans. He's very influential, and when he does this, my issues. Obviously, no one's racist in this. I'm going to absolutely take that no one's racist, but my problem is that this is not this, you know, kneeling down thing is not to say that I'm not racist. That's not what it means. It's about spreading awareness to your platform that it is wrong to be racist and that it's just not acceptable in our society, right? But now what Max and Leclerc, what they've done to their young followers, because they're young themselves, right? They're younger than me, right? And what they've done is essentially given their fans an opportunity to question the very idea of, you know,
being racist
to other people. Yeah, because I'm seeing now on social media, Max is saying very, very bad stuff, and it's just not acceptable. And the reason why, and they got, you know, I guess you could say they got every right to say this because their idol is the same thing. So that's why I have a big problem with it. And then I've noticed, you know, like as you said, Max, well, not Max, forget him, but Sainz, Leclerc, Raikkonen, Giovinazzi, Kvyat, and that was it.
No, did Vettel?
Vettel, no doubt. But what I know, those 5 drivers, which you probably noticed, is that they got one mutual connection, which is Ferrari. I think Ferrari told not to kneel, in my personal opinion. And of course, like, I know they're saying that it's a personal choice and stuff like that. Everyone can do their own thing and stuff, but I think when you know, we know Ferrari, they're very they're very bureaucratic. They don't let anyone be higher than the team. So I guess, like, they don't want to let down any sponsors or stuff like that. But then again, you look at Mercedes have changed their entire livery.
Their suits and everything.
They took a risk on their own heritage, you know, silver to black cars. That's a big message. Message, and that's to raise awareness. Not to say that you know, and then I will diversity program as well.
I will say though, some people, I say some because it was very little, but I did see some comments saying that Hamilton's got the team wrapped around his finger. He decides what to do. It's like, it's not just Black Lives Matter. I did see this hashtag All Lives Matter during every one of those like hated comments. They did put All Lives Matter, which I think is a bit, you know.
I think what people don't understand what Black Lives Matter means. I think they don't understand that. We're not saying that lives don't matter. That's not what that it means.
Literally.
What it should be, what it should say is Black Lives Matter too. That's what it should. That's what it should say for those who are a bit thick to understand.
Yeah.
Like, it means Black Lives Matter too, because white lives already matter.
Yeah.
It's just
They have such a big, like, you probably go to an audition, they'll probably pick a person who isn't as good as you, but due to the color, they would choose you because of fandom. And
that would never happen to a white person. That would never happen. But it doesn't mean that black people aren't racist toward white people, or that we're not racist towards other minorities, because that's just plain ignorance. That's not true. Everyone is racist. Everyone has this inner racism built into it somehow, somewhat. But it's very, very ignorant to say that that all lives matter during this time, because I think black people, they faced a lot of terrible ordeals, and it's not fair.
yeah,
absolutely, and it's just
in any sport there's racism about black people.
In life, it's just it's terrible, and like definitely in football as well. That's much worse in football. For example,
I mean, Bulgaria and England, there was big racism chance.
Not just the referees, everyone gets tormented because of their color. You wouldn't see a white person being tormented just because of their color.
Yeah.
Right. But I did like the statement which they which was end racism.
Yeah.
So for that statement, no one can argue against that.
No
one can argue against that. And and I think, you know, in terms of the kneeling thing, I think the controversy beforehand was that they were expected to kneel during the anthem.
Oh.
That was where the controversy lied, and that's obviously the anthem has to be respected, and you have to stand towards the anthem, right? So I get that. I get that point, but that's not what happened, did it? They knelt and then they played
the anthem was played.
So what was their issue? I don't understand. What was their point in doing that? Just kneel and then carry on. You know, it's
literally a couple minutes of your life. Not gonna
solidarity, show unity. You know, all that's done create division. Now I've lost so much respect for Max and for Leclerc and Sainz as well. Sainz is set to join Ferrari next year again. Like, I think it's all political.
Yeah.
For their own selfish reasons, you know.
I want to ask, how those lights were out? We saw Norris. Norris had some pacey guys. He was trying to attack Verstappen straight away. I think as soon as lights were out, he was like attacking Verstappen, but he couldn't.
McLaren actually had a very good race pace. Like, it was really exciting. It's really great to see McLaren up there again.
I know.
Like, where they were back in the early 2010s. It was really good to see them.
Before Fernando was back.
Sainz actually had a pretty good race. He had he took over. He at the end of the race, Perez and Sainz had a big like drag race in a way. Sainz persevered throughout and got fourth, I think. No, fifth, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Sainz, I mean, they're second in the whole championship, I think. Let me check.
Yeah, he was.
The second, I think.
Yeah.
Oh wow!
And we did see Max defended amazingly.
He was amazing.
He is a good driver, like Midland. I don't understand his off-track business, but on track, he is one of the best drivers out there. And we did see that Red Bull had a lot of pace, especially from Albon too. We did see Albon going towards the front.
Verstappen had a few problems, I believe, with the gears. I think it was
as soon as lap 14 came around, we saw Max dropping down from the order, and then we saw that he was out due to issues with the car. I didn't know what issues they were. Netherlands, do you know what issues they were?
I like it wasn't very obvious. I thought it was gearbox.
Yeah.
I think it's a bit. I think it's something a bit beneath that because car kept going into anti-stall.
Yeah.
I think it's something electrical. Like it anti-stalled like 5 or 6 times in inconsequential. I've never seen that before in a car in F1. So, yeah, that was an odd one. That incident.
So much for the hype of him getting another win at Austria. Maybe next week.
Yeah.
We don't know. He does have another chance.
I think it was karma. That's what I was.
I actually called it the Verstappen race.
So 4 laps later, we saw Daniel Ricciardo also have car issues and then retires, which gave the midfield cars some more hope, I would say, because then they started attacking more. And we did see Alpha coming from the back going forward. That was nice to see.
Wait.
And we saw lap 21. There was a lot of cars that had issues today. Seeing Lance Stroll out with engine issues, which warned all the other Mercedes-powered cars. And then we saw Mercedes telling Hamilton and Bottas about their gearbox and that they want their car to come home, which shows us that once again, Mercedes have reliability issues. And we did see that in testing. What are you guys' thoughts on the Mercedes-powered cars and what they're futurizing?
They're going to do a Red Bull.
No, I saw there were 2 different issues that they stated about. The first one was the suspension or something. They had said no, so not just suspension, the chassis. There was some issue with this chassis, and they kept saying chassis urgent 52.
Yeah, chassis 2.1, 52, and I was like, coding?
I think this issue happened last year as well, and I remember both Mercs retired because of some issue with the track itself, the fact that their car couldn't handle the track, and I guess they like putting their car as low as possible. But still, yeah, it was very odd because it wasn't just the that issue, as you said. It was also the gearbox as well.
Yes.
At first, I was just like, are they just trying to control the race here to maintain position and let the drivers finish? You know, as you saw today, I think how many cars retired? 9 cars or something?
9 cars.
Yeah, 9 cars retired today.
I'll get 9 because
it was
the first race, obviously. So obviously, we're going wrong. And yeah, they just couldn't. And it's not like Australia. In Australia, you can kind of maintain the pace and stuff. Here, it's just full on attack all the time. So yeah, that's why I guess they asked. I think they did control the race. I think they just wanted Bottas to finish. But yeah.
Yeah. 26, we see Kevin Magnussen. Once again, Haas are struggling, which is not good for the team, especially since we did hear in a couple months ago that Gene Haas wants them to stay in F1. So if they're going to stay, they better do well. And once again, Hamilton is warned about curbs and how it will damage the car. But he wants to challenge Bottas and replies, this is actually quite funny, by saying that Bottas is also attacking the curbs and tell him to be careful before you tell me. So bit of a issue between communication with Mercedes.
No, definitely. Like everyone saw that Bottas was definitely every time
he was coming.
Every time Lewis was nearing towards him, Lewis always took a wide exit for some reason. Didn't give him good momentum out the corner, and Bottas was over attacking the curb.
Yeah.
And that's why his car was definitely more. If it's true, that's why it was. Definitely had more not damage, but I think it could have expired at any point.
Yeah.
In regards to Haas, not much has changed since last year.
Yeah.
Really. They both had different technical issues.
Roman was out for electrical issues. Brake issues or something.
Okay. Yeah.
I think one or the other, but
he just spun out not through his own doing. I think something.
No. I think it was Sainz, wasn't it?
No, it wasn't Sainz.
Sainz
was
what?
it a racing point?
No,
that hit Magnussen. It was Ocon. Ocon that hit Magnussen at the back.
He didn't hit him whatsoever. He gave so much space. He just span out, went full out of control of his car.
Something happened to his car. Yeah, it was nothing to do with the. Yeah.
No.
I don't think it touched.
He literally skadooshed himself out of.
Yeah, But it was such a weird spin. It was so quick, and it just happened like I don't know. To me, I think it was hydraulic or something in the back let go, or suspension. Something just let go. So I think that's what happened.
We did have a couple safety cars out in this race. Just a couple, maybe 6, 7. And once again, Mercedes told the two drivers to refrain from fighting each other, since already a couple drivers were out, and which may give Bottas the final win. And Albon was third, well, when the safety car was out for Romain Grosjean. So it could have been a career best for him. It was confirmed later on, wasn't it?
Like basically he passed Perez. Was it Perez? He passed Perez.
Yeah.
I forgot which safety car this was. Might be the second one of the.
Because Russell was out on the lap after Roman.
Right. Okay. So yeah, it was during that one. So he passed him, and just as he passed him, the safety car came out, and he decided to let him go again.
Which is true sportsmanship.
It wasn't a
and then Red Bull were like, "You can go back."
Yeah.
So yeah.
This is they did something right.
Yep.
And, then the race continued.
Yes, and then after 3 laps, Russell. So after Russell was out, 3 laps later, I think it was 3 laps, Kimi has a tire come off, which means a safety car once again. And as of Kimi, 7 cars were out. So nice start to the race.
That was such a
possible.
It was a very good race. And then Albon was third. Yeah. And as soon as safety car goes in, Albon and Hamilton go wheel to wheel, and Albon comes off the circuit and puts him last.
I've never heard this before.
So we've heard. I think we've gathered that every time Hamilton and Red Bull, Hamilton and Albon come together, a McLaren ends up with a podium.
Yeah, that's a good point, actually.
Got the picture. So last year was Sainz. This year it was. I
saw this meme on Instagram. Yeah.
And the radio was, "He's such a sore loser."
Oh really? I didn't hear. Oh wow. Okay. But who said Albon?
Albon said that.
Albon said that
about Hamilton. He's such a sore loser. So, what are you guys' thoughts on that incident?
Yes. I viewed it as, well, when I first saw it, when I saw it happen like live, I thought Lewis was in the wrong, because it just looked like Lewis tapped Albon.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Because Albon was on the outside, and obviously looking from that angle, he was ahead of Lewis, and by F1 right away rule, like anyone is half a length more ahead than the other car would have the right of way in terms of track position and stuff like that. So at first glance, I thought it was Hamilton's fault, and therefore I thought Hamilton would get a penalty instantaneously. However, when I watched it again a few times, especially from Hamilton's onboard, most crucial thing which struck out to me was that, 3 things. Was that, 1, he didn't turn into Albon, that's a very crucial thing. Yeah. Is that he didn't push Albon wide off track, and he didn't attempt to. The third thing, and that's the most crucial thing, is that he was fully locked to the right. There was nothing more Hamilton could have done. Even slowing down wouldn't have done anything, because he's fully locked. You can't. By slowing down doesn't make a difference, right? No. Yeah. So, in my opinion, there was nothing more that Lewis could have done in that situation. Therefore, you can argue, that it is a racing incident. I think the reason Hamilton got the penalty was not because of the action, but I think it was because of the consequence. Because Albon suffered so much that he dropped to the back, and Hamilton got away scot-free, when you can argue it was essentially 50-50. That wasn't fair. And that's why I think Hamilton got the penalty. Not because of the action, but because of the consequence thereafter. Yeah. So therefore, it is a racing incident, but I wouldn't argue as to why there was a 5-second penalty.
Okay. But what's your opinion on the incident?
I mean, as I said, I still think that it shouldn't have been that 5-second penalty. It's a little unfair.
Penalty at all?
Huh?
You think he deserved a penalty at all?
Did not deserve it, in my opinion.
Okay.
So do you think Albon's in the wrong?
I'm not saying Albon's wrong or Hamilton did something wrong. I'm not saying Albon did anything wrong. Oh, he's not even in.
I think Albon was a bit too like it was so he definitely had. He could have won the race.
He was a little bit too aggressive.
Yeah.
In that,
especially he was on soft tires. He was the only guy on soft tires.
Therefore, like there was no need to be so aggressive during because they had 10 laps left. He could have easily overtaken Hamilton and Bottas, and he could have won. Imagine if he won the race, you know?
Yeah,
literally.
he would have as well.
Yeah, that would have been such
Nothing
a.
stopping
Because
him.
Mercedes were having problems with their gearbox at that time, weren't they? So of course they're like.
That's what I'm saying. There was no need to do such a risky overtake because the Mercedes cars were vulnerable.
We could have done that any time on that day.
Exactly.
Then there would like 10 minutes remaining, and it's just kind of an idiotic thing to do in a way, because when you have at least 10 minutes remaining, you're thinking, oh, okay, I'm so close, I can easily get past them.
Yeah.
In a jiffy, basically.
It's lack of experience. I think.
Yeah. Even like the commentators were like, "Oh, like a bit more." They were like, "Oh, be patient a little more." Like, and they were shouting, "Oh!"
Yeah.
I would have said it's a classic rookie mistake. He shouldn't have.
He's not a rookie though.
In a Red Bull, he is.
Yeah.
I would say, comparing him to Gasly, which
He's
one
way
do you think deserved that Red Bull seat from the start?
Of course.
No, I'm a big fan of Albon. I think
Me too.
he's a very good driver. Definitely better than.
He was amazing. You saw he got driver of the day.
He's got the pace. He's just a bit clumsy, but so was Lewis. You know, when he began. Lewis also took stupid opportunities unnecessarily. Like he was fast, but he just didn't know when to take action. But now that he's matured and developed, but that's my point. Same with Verstappen. Same with Leclerc. You could argue as well. It just takes time to develop, and bear in mind that Albon doesn't contest for podiums on a regular basis.
He's literally there to pick up points when Verstappen isn't.
Second time he's fighting, and also the second time he collided. So
which gave McLaren a podium, a third place podium.
Yeah.
Again.
Honestly,
crazy.
We can't really compare Gasly to Albon. He's not really suited in a completely fast car. I know AlphaTauri and Honda are like, AlphaTauri and Red Bull are both Honda. They
powered engines.
Honda engines, yeah. But AlphaTauri, Gasly in an AlphaTauri, we see his confidence level rise, rather than when he was in Red Bull, he wasn't really as confident. He didn't really push those chances, and he didn't really get close to a podium. To be honest, Albon, he deserved one in Brazil. He performed so well in is he in the time Belgium? I think Belgium. He had a really good race. I think he was
from the back,
back of the grid.
He was like from the back. And when he was in Toro Rosso, which is now called AlphaTauri, he came from the pit
lane to P10.
Yeah, pit lane to 10th, which is
his speed. You can't doubt his speed. It's the racecraft, you know. That's the speed. But I think Gasly is missing the speed. He just isn't fast enough. And he never had any. Obviously, he had the podium last year in Brazil, but that was a different circumstance. I don't really count that.
In a way, he kind of got lucky. I'm saying he got super lucky.
Yeah, he didn't really have any standout performances through his own merit, in my opinion.
We even saw in Germany, he crashed out because of the water, didn't he? Not because of the person, because of the water. It was super, slippery conditions.
No, it's just not acceptable, especially if a Red Bull driver, those kind of things are just not acceptable. And I think it's just handling the pressure.
Even in Hungary.
To go against Max Verstappen already is a big thing. I like this about Max Verstappen. He's very confident in what he does. If he has a chance, he will take that chance.
He's aggressive. He's very
So
aggressive.
imagine going up against a guy called Max Verstappen,
Who's
and
the prodigy of Formula One.
you know he's going to be number one for Red Bull, and you're just there to just gather some, I don't know, some points in case, or maybe get a podium in case Verstappen goes out, which is what the case was today. But
Of course, that.
Yeah.
happened.
No, that's a good point.
It was a little, in my opinion, it's kind of harsh that they gave the penalty. Because,
so yeah, Aaron?
like Mitherland said, there was really nothing he could do. He was a little bit too aggressive in Albon. He could have waited a few more laps, honestly.
I think, like, just summarize, I think Albon had the choice of what he could have done, whereas
Yeah.
Lewis had every right to hold that line,
yeah,
and he did. And like I said, he didn't push Albon off. If he pushed him off, or if he just straightened his wheel a bit, that's 100% Lewis's fault.
yeah.
But in that instance, he couldn't do anything else.
Yeah.
We even saw when it was Hamilton's perspective, he kept it on like that turning point because when he tried the overtake, Hamilton was still turning, of course.
Yeah.
So I like you said, there's nothing he can do about that.
So as well as Hamilton getting a 5-second penalty, we also saw Perez, which knocked him out the podium spot. So he
Yes.
could have got third, but due to the penalty, he couldn't. And this was for exceeding track limits. So a couple people thought maybe it was for that incident between him and Norris in the pit lane, but it was just for exceeding track limits.
Was it
Pit
track-
lane limits.
Pit lane
Pit
speed.
lane limits.
It was
Speed.
for Grosjean. He
Huh?
got the white
Oh yeah, Grosjean got a black and white flag.
for
Yes.
exceeding track limits.
I think so, yes.
Perez got it for the speed.
Limit,
Mhm.
yeah.
In the pit lane.
Yeah.
We also saw Kvyat out on lap 70, so a lap before the race was over. I think with him it was some sort of car issue again.
Yeah.
So all the Hondas had some sort of issue, and Albon also he had an issue that caused him to DNF.
Did all the Red Bulls?
No, Gasly finished.
Oh yeah, Gasly had a fairly alright.
Gasly's more confident in that AlphaTauri.
Gasly made a few overtakes. Actually.
He never really stood out. He just kind of benefited from everyone retiring.
We saw that Bottas came first. Leclerc was second, so that shoebox got a podium.
I he did very well against Norris. Norris he held Leclerc very well. He tried because Ferrari is a very hard team to hold back until
This today.
Norris did two amazing things today. Passing Perez like that aggressively, but that was at first I was like, why is he doing that when Perez already has a penalty? But then that's what got him that podium position.
Yeah, it was a great overtake.
It was a great. Yeah, and the second point was that obviously on the final lap when he did the final lap. That lap.
That was that.
Under so much pressure, everyone was so close to each other. It was just. It's so.
He was 6 seconds.
Yeah, it's
the 12-year-old milk drinker is gonna turn into a 40-year-old beer drinker.
He's born in 1999. I can't believe how young he is. I mean,
I know.
To you guys, but to me.
Yeah, but to you.
No, he's born in 2000, isn't he? 1999.
No, 99. I think he's 20 this year.
Oh wow.
Yeah. 21. It's gonna be 21.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, it's really impressive. I was really impressed with it.
I thought
agreed. And he did get P3.
Yeah.
Which shows all three of those drivers did sim racing on their own simulators.
That's true.
So that shows sim racing does help you in the long run. So anyone who's got sims, start racing. You're going to get in the first three.
Yes.
Hamilton plays Gran Turismo. So.
Get your sim on, boy.
I don't know. He said he did play the F1 game with some drivers, like not obviously not in public.
Yeah. I mean, otherwise he'll lose that Gran Turismo sponsor, wouldn't he?
Yeah. Yes.
Oh God.
Overall, championship-wise, Bottas is first with 25 points. We have Leclerc with 18, Norris with 16, Hamilton with 12.
Hamilton, honestly, it was a little annoying.
Carlos Sainz Jr. has 10, Sergio Perez 8, Pierre Gasly 6, Esteban Ocon, we have 8th with 4 points. Yep. We have Antonio Giovinazzi 9th.
This is the first time you will see a Ferrari behind an Alfa Romeo, okay? So don't get your hopes up. Ferrari are not better than Alfa Romeo.
Yeah. It'll be a bit surprising to see a Ferrari-powered car be ahead of the legit team Ferrari. Vettel with 1. We thought this was the year he could get a championship. Who knows? This is the year Bottas, Verstappen, or Vettel could get the championship, I feel like.
I really hope Hamilton gets his 7th.
Definitely not Vettel. Ferrari's car is just not good enough. It's not good foundation point at all.
It's kind of atrocious how they performed today.
Yeah, and I see it changing.
Vettel spun, didn't he spin?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that
no contact made. And he goes, wee.
Attitude this weekend, it just seems like he's just ready to move on from Ferrari.
Yeah.
I've never seen him so open before. It's kind of good in a way to see him like that. Obviously, he hasn't announced what his intentions are, but I think he's open to talking to other teams.
Yeah. I mean, Red Bull don't want him because, you know. Renault, I don't think they're interested in him. And I think we'll talk about this in the later episode. Well, who do we think will be our 2021 drivers lineup? So
I think I've done
that. We have Latifi 11th, Kvyat 12th, Albon 13th, Raikkonen 14th, Russell 15th, Grosjean 16th, Magnussen 17th.
Honestly, I'm going to say it. He held back Vettel. He had a great race.
Stroll 18th, Ricciardo 19th, and the person who we thought would win this race, Verstappen in 20th. That could all change next week.
I thought Stroll would actually I thought Stroll would pick up a few points, but clearly that's
the car failed on him today.
That was disappointing, to see.
Tracing Point.
Stroll had a great. He had a really nice race. It was.
Yeah, it's nice. It's nice to see more teams a bit more.
Yeah.
It's definitely closer. Not to say. I mean, I know they had the issue today. That's why it's a bit close. But,
yeah.
Are having one hell of a season already.
They will.
Constructors expect Racing Point of all the teams. Racing Point are beasting Ferrari.
I know, right? Constructors wise, we have Mercedes first, McLaren second, Ferrari third, Racing Point fourth, AlphaTauri fifth, Renault sixth, Alfa Romeo seventh, Williams eighth. So Williams aren't at the bottom, guys.
Oh my God!
Red Bull ninth, which is a shocker, and Haas are 10th.
Okay.
Haas or Haas?
Haas, I think. Haas.
I think it's Haas, yeah.
Okay. The most surprising thing, I mean, it's not really surprising, but I think it's 2010 all over, like literally those 2010, 2008 days. McLaren was second. Can we just take a huge moment to appreciate McLaren? How they're not down.
It's only the first place, though. We have to see how long it can continue.
Yeah.
They didn't even get this many points in 3 races last year, and they've already got.
That's generally, but again, this is the first race we've saw.
We never know what's going to happen. I mean,
I think 5 races in, we'll have a bit more of an understanding. And next weekend, either next weekend will be as exciting, or it'll be so boring because everyone would have been on the track, everyone would know their car a bit more. So it'll be so interesting. I'm really excited to see in the same place.
Another thing I wanted to ask you guys was, what do you think from the first race that you've realised or understood, or who do you think would have the chance of winning the championship? Like overall, from the first race, what do you guys thing. I want to do this every single race that we review.
McLaren have been very strong in their first race. I mean, nobody expected McLaren to be this well. Same with Racing Point. I mean, we saw their pre-practice, in like March or February. Racing Point set up some very good times. Perez was in front of Hamilton, Bottas was behind Stroll. It was all a little bit surprising to see some of these teams that would perform as well as they did this season to do very well this season. And if I'm not mistaken, Racing Point are fourth, are they? Yeah. Racing Point are fourth, and we wouldn't really expect this at all. Sometimes we just normally think Mercedes, Ferrari, Red Bull just take it home this season, but it's surprising to see McLaren, Racing Point, and AlphaTauri up there. And normally, when you think of top four, I mean, middle teams, you're just thinking Renault and McLaren. McLaren are set to look like one of those big teams this season. I know it's only been one race, but
yeah. Midland, your thoughts on the race, the first race of the year?
Yeah, I mean, it's really, really exciting stuff, and I'm just glad to have F1 back.
Honestly,
I think that's something everyone will agree, no matter what their views are. Track. I think it's just great to have it all back again. Obviously, sad not to see fans there. Which is sad.
It's a little weird. It's like F4 in a way.
It is them. I guess for them, it's like going back to karting when no one turned up.
Yeah.
But I think that's good as well in a way. And we saw something a bit different. I'm not sure about the podium procedure. That was really but
it's literally 4-year-olds on some
no stand.
Yeah.
But just to sum up, I think Mercedes are definitely the ones to beat as ever.
Yeah, as usual.
The biggest disappointment as ever. Red Bull, Red Bull, tried a different approach this year with the new front end of the car, which I think they can improve that and work around that. So it'd be good to see them up front as well. McLaren obviously is fantastic to see again, just fighting, but it's about keeping that momentum going. Who else? Racing Point again. I think that was pretty much expected.
Yeah.
Reliability needed. I think just a better understanding of the car. Which other teams have I missed? So Renault is pretty disappointing.
Yeah.
But again, I'm kind of expecting it, and I think Daniel's choice to join McLaren is looking ever better.
Yeah.
I think Sainz's choice to join Ferrari
is getting just
more questionable.
I was really hoping for Renault to actually pick up points.
They did. Ocon did, but only 2. So
and that was by circumstance. That wasn't by.
Ocon kind of got lucky that he even got points. If it wasn't for those
9 cars, then.
So that's pretty much it.
So as the other two have said, I agree. Mercedes are the ones to beat. Ferrari were a bit of a letdown, but that's just Ferrari. I think they have a package in Hungary that they're waiting to put on. So maybe we'll see them gather some speed.
The injured team all of a sudden.
Otherwise it's just not going to be a good enough fight.
One of the teams not performing well, and then you would expect Ferrari to be first or second. What would you expect was first and second from Ferrari? But in those, 2010 till 2019, I don't think they won a single championship. It was all Red Bull and Mercedes. It's poor. Ferrari, ever since they lost, I think ever since they lost Massa and Raikkonen, it's not really been the same. They haven't been winning any championships or anything, really. And 7th and 11th is not good enough, especially with a car with a great, energetic youngster, the player, and a full-time champion. I'm not happy with the performance, of course.
So adding on to that, Racing Point, we kind of all expected. We saw the pace in testing in Barcelona, so we kind of knew that they were going to do well. AlphaTauri, they were quite quiet during testing. They did prove a little bit their speed and how they'll cope with the throughout the season a little bit.
I thought AlphaTauri might prove why they're a good team.
We saw Alfa Romeo. They did. Giovinazzi, I think, is in a better mood than last year. I think he'll do well this year. Not quite into points, but maybe score the occasional point here and there. Williams, quite a shock to me, I think. We did see them in qualifying. Russell was quite close to Q2. Didn't quite make it, but he did well.
He's actually, I think he's going to be the hero for Williams this season. Like I said, he did hold Vettel, and I think that's pretty impressive, especially a guy that's won it 4 times. And he was really close. He was 13th, and then the engine failure. Everyone would be upset if Russell didn't get points. I'm pretty much upset. Because when I was watching it, I was like, Russell's definitely going to pick up a point or 2 at least.
Mm-hmm.
Even if he's in the Williams. I was really hoping for him to get a point, but sadly, no points.
Red Bull, I feel like they've done trial and error their stuff. Maybe they have a new DAS that they want to put in next week. So we'll see about them. They're kind of in the zone, but also out the zone. I think the drivers just want to get back to racing as soon as possible. Yeah. That kind of thing. Haas, they have to get their stuff together if they want to do well this year. They can't have a repeat of last year. They really need to work harder, get the team gelled up more.
They need to be like that 2018 team that they were. Because if they're not, then they're definitely going to do worse than Williams. Williams are actually doing better than Haas, in my opinion.
Okay, thank you guys for watching. If you did enjoy, please go into like, comment, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Go subscribe to It's Varouche videos every Sunday over there. We'll see you guys next week for the next round of Austria. So, yeah. See you guys then. Peace. And stay safe, people.